I want to answer a question posed by the New York Times this weekend. Where is the outrage about Donald Trump's corruption scandal around cryptocurrency? It's right here on Legal AF on the Midas Touch Network. One of the Republican operatives from MAGA said that outrage is a figment of elitists' imagination. I don't think so. It is corruption at the highest level that we're watching this president execute in plain sight. And we call it out here. I want to talk on this particular hot take, now that I'm back in front of the microphone, about the meme coin dinner on the 22nd. Carolyn Levitt, the press secretary, lying to the American people that it was a private event, what that means in terms of exposure to liability for Donald Trump. And of course, it was a big fat lie, because this dinner he held for 220 people that invested the most money and well over a couple of $100 million in his meme cryptocurrency, which has no intrinsic value. It's made up. $ Trump. I mean, that's Freudian slip if I ever heard one. He's made more than $350 million since the beginning of the year. He held this exclusive dinner at his golf course. And of course, when he came to the podium in a video clip that was obtained by the New York Times, what's on the podium? The seal, the great seal of America and of the United States. He is influence peddling in plain sight. He is trying to convert his political capital into cash. He's built a printing press for money in the White House. We need to continue to focus on it right here. And it needs to become part of the discussion and the debate about the Republican Party and MAGA come the midterms. I'm going to do it all right here on this particular hot take. Right here on the Legal AF channel. Take a moment and hit that subscribe button. It really does help us. What just happened? Donald Trump's influence peddling. If you don't know that word, the other thing you can call it is that he's actually just out and out selling influence to the highest bidder. Of the 220 meme coin holders who hold it in an electronic wallet, they had to have the most in their wallet in order to attend. The top two were Jason's son, who was the subject of currently the subject or was of an SEC investigation for stock manipulation, which was put on pause conveniently by the Trump administration. He bought almost $20 million worth of phony Trump memes coin. The other one is Meme Core out of Singapore. We'll put up a photo here of the Meme Core Singapore guy. You can see the woman in the photo doesn't want to be, she's not that happy to be photoed because they know they're doing something wrong. This is smoke-filled rooms where deals are being made. The money in that room represented over $200 or $300 million that ended up in Donald Trump's pocket. He doesn't care about the actual intrinsic value of a meme cryptocurrency, because it really has no intrinsic value. He just cares about the volume of the trade, the buy and the sell. The more that's bought, the more that's sold, the more he makes. Not just because he owns 80% of what's sitting in a vault, an electronic vault, but he's the market maker with his family for the buy and the sell. There's no stock market for cryptocurrency. And in order to make this happen, there has to be what's called a liquidity pool, which sits around the buy and the sell. And who's funding the liquidity pool for a commission? Donald Trump and his family. This is just one. This top of the 220 that were invited to the dinner that you and I paid for with taxpayer dollars to take Donald Trump back and forth from there. Probably $20 million worth of taxpayer dollars wasted for Donald Trump to stand in front of a presidential seal and sell the presidency. In fact, let me show you a clip of Donald Trump speaking for a couple of seconds to this audience and how he's selling his private interests and influence peddling using his perch of being president of the United States. Roll the clip.
Yeah, look at them. They're all dressed up in tuxedos. Why didn't you tell me that? I would have worn a tuxedo. I just want to tell you it's an honor to be with you. You know, we've been pushing the market of crypto and Bitcoin and all of it, everything. And I do it for a reason, not for me. I really do it because I think it's the right thing to do.
There was another subgroup, other than the 220 biggest, of the top 25 that got some other elbow rubbing time with Donald Trump. 19 out of those 25, foreign. Half of the 220, foreign. This is the way for foreign governments and foreign actors to influence this presidency. Carolyn Levitt says at a press conference, I'll show you in a minute, this was on his private time. We're transparent about public things, but not about private things. And why is the U.S. seal on the podium? Why did they play Hail to the Chief when he entered the room?
And just following up on the dinner tonight, you mentioned this is not a White House dinner, but the president is always the president, and the Trump family is making money off of this. So can you just explain, how is this not the president using the office to enrich himself?
All of the president's assets are in a blind trust, which is managed by his children. And I would argue one of the many reasons that the American people reelected this president back to this office is because he was a very successful businessman before giving it up to publicly serve our country. Reagan.
If this is all, and is she telling the world that Donald Trump, this is like that show on HBO, Severance, that he has some sort of severed brain cortex where he separates his private life from his public life, and he doesn't realize when he sees his bank account go up by $300 million, over $1 billion since January, that he doesn't know where that money came from, and that doesn't influence policy and doesn't warp his decision making. Come on. This isn't Severance. This is real life. Let's look at some of the people that were in that room. Justin's son, I call him Banana Boy. Why? Because for like, I don't know, $30 or $40 million, he bought a real banana that was taped with duct tape as a joke at Art Basel to a wall as a piece of art, and he bought it for tens of millions of dollars. And then he ate the banana. We'll show a photo. So Banana Boy is also the subject in the Biden administration. Remember those days, the golden era, when the Securities and Exchange Commission did its job and wasn't run by a cryptocurrency sycophant that bootlicks Donald Trump. As soon as Donald Trump got in, all of a sudden, Justin's son's, his problems with the SEC for stock manipulation went on ice. Now, allegedly, they're working on a deal for him to settle out. But he bought, in order to get into the dinner, he bought millions and millions and millions of dollars of a dollar sign Trump meme stock just to get into the room. Showed up with a tuxedo, posted a social media post. I'm all happy. We'll roll a B-roll of it. Oh, I'm all excited to be in the room. Donald Trump, all these people wearing tuxedos at the golf course. Then you have in the background, that's not the only cryptocurrency scandal going on right now with Donald Trump. That's being investigated at least by the Senate Democrats, by Jeff Merkley of Oregon, by Chuck Schumer of New York, and others who are trying to pass the End Crypto Corruption Act against the Trump family. You also have a major investment in which Abu Dhabi is trying to gain political persuasion and leverage over Donald Trump by using his World Liberty financial platform, which he and his sons own, including Barron. I've never seen a family that had two Fredos, but they do. Barron, 3 maybe, Don Jr. and Eric, they own this together. Ivanka apparently is not a part of it. She's too smart for that. So they're doing an investment into Binance. Binance is already, people went to jail that owned Binance, a company out of China, for stock manipulation and other fraud. But Binance is back. Abu Dhabi wants to make an investment. They're going to do it through what's called a stable coin, which is a cryptocurrency tied to the US dollar in this case. So it doesn't fluctuate in value. It's tied to the dollar. It's an alternative to the dollar. Everybody in Trump's administration has been pushing stablecoin, including its Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, who's got his own investments. Oh, I'm sorry. They're his son's investments now, as of 3 days ago. Get it? In stablecoin. So the stablecoin investment for billions of dollars through Binance is going to go first and wash itself through World Liberty Finance, which Donald Trump is going to get a piece of, not only the deal itself as a promote, but also the commission, the VIG on the transaction while he's president of the United States. The Sons have already said, we're going to make as much money as possible. They go to every cryptocurrency conference. They figured out that crypto is a way to money launder and probably tax evade as well. And Donald Trump is willingly participating in it. While his front people, like Carolyn Leavitt, fresh off her stint as the North Korean propaganda minister, she stands in front of the American people and says, we're the most transparent administration in history. I have a new name for that. It's opacity. It's the opacity of dope. And they're treating us like dopes because they think we're going to buy, because news cycles move so quickly and the story moves on, that we're going to buy that Donald Trump's not in bed with Abu Dhabi, with all the investors in cryptocurrency, that he has somehow put up a wall in his brain. He doesn't realize that everybody that's investing in him and his influence peddling scheme are foreign, and he's not going to be lighter on them in the policies that he passes. Come on. Come on. I have a bridge in Brooklyn that's for sale. If you think any of that's true. Look what Donald Trump has done since he's been in to kind of have, it's sort of like a subway train. There used to be red light. There's red lights and green lights. Red lights stop the train so they can't proceed down the track because there's danger. Green lights. This is all green lights with this administration of cryptocurrency. This is all gas, no brake. The Department of Justice completely shutters its cryptocurrency enforcement division under Pam Bondi. Done. They go down the list of all the people in cryptocurrency world that are being investigated by the FTC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, or any other government regulatory agency, and they put them all on ice. They have no problem having Donald Trump, the appearance of Donald Trump, the president of the United States, who used to call Joe Biden the Biden crime family and said that he was the most corrupt president we've ever had, while he takes hundreds, if not billions of dollars from foreign investors in plain sight. So he has no problem getting into bed with Abu Dhabi's government, along with Binance, a convicted fraudster, the company, in order to do a deal to benefit his World Liberty Finance. And the New York Times had a great line because it's in the passage of time and the Trump fatigue syndrome that set in, not derangement, but fatigue, and exploiting the velocity of the news cycle to his advantage. We forget that like 40 years ago, 30 years ago, Hillary Clinton got in hot water because she took $1,000 investment in cattle futures and turned it into $100,000. She made $99,000. And we were on her forever for that. She never got the stink fully off for her for that investment. $100,000, $99,000. Donald Trump makes that before this hot take is over. He made it in the first 2 seconds in his pocket as president of the United States. I said yesterday during the Legal AF podcast that back in the day, they used to ask presidential candidates why they were running. What was the burning desire that they had? Isn't that cute? They don't do that anymore. But they used to ask it. It used to trip up some presidential candidates. Like I think Gary Hart or Mondale couldn't come up with a quick enough answer, like they hadn't thought about it. And on 60 Minutes, like, why do you want to be president of the United States? If somebody had asked Donald Trump that and they had stuck him with a syringe of sodium pentothal, truth serum, and made him tell the truth, this is what he would have said. He would have said, 1, to avoid convictions and jail time. Check. 2, to make as much money influence peddling as possible. I want to walk out with billions of dollars in my bank account and those of my family, use influence peddling while I'm president of the United States. Check. I want to get back at everybody who was mean to me when I was president or after Jan 6th or in the convictions and the Democrats. I want retribution. Check. Okay. 4, I want to pay my debts to those that supported me in the Heritage Foundation, Project 2025's architects, in the Federalist Society, in the right MAGA right alt-wing institutes and think tanks. Check. They're all in his government. They're all in his cabinet. They're all, and wait till we start talking about federal judges. There hasn't been a real big vacancy yet. There will be. There will be. You think this big, beautiful budget that finally got passed allegedly by the House, you think that's the end of it? Wait till they try to expand the federal judiciary and manufacture new judge seats for Donald Trump to fill. You notice in that list of top 4 things that consumed Donald Trump and motivated his desire to run for office again. I don't talk about the American people. I don't talk about pocketbook issues, kitchen table issues, supermarket issues, check-to-check living issues, how to pay for a loved one, an elderly member of your family, education, healthcare, put food on your table, put gas in your tank, get you a car, pay your credit card bills, take out a loan, take out a mortgage. I don't talk about any of that because none of what he's doing is consistent with somebody with that checklist. I mean, it is consistent with what his checklist, but not with helping Americans. So I'm going to end the hot take the way I usually do. What do we do about it, Popok? Yeah, the call to action is easy. Use all of your time. You want something to do besides watching Legal AF and the podcast? You want something else to do? Join your local Democratic Party, county, state, federal, whatever it is. Get on phone banks, voter registration. Take care of your own house first. Make sure your voter registration is proper. You like to mail-in vote? Make sure your mail-in voting registration is proper. Don't assume, especially if you live in a a red state, that they haven't changed the laws on you and changed the rules on you. They have. Fix that. Get other people. Get other people to do major turnout for the midterms, which are right around a corner. It's a big corner right now. It's getting shorter every day. And make sure we send a message when it's only Donald Trump who's on the ballot. Nobody else. No Kamala Harris, no Joe Biden. How did you like the first 2 years under Donald Trump? Thumb up, thumb down, and hold his party responsible. With that, we should be able to return checks and balance to our government. We should be able to have a proper separation of powers. We should be able, with the House and the Senate in Democrat control, be situated properly for a 2028 return to the White House by Democrats. And that's how we do it. We chip away. It's like a giant sequoia tree that we got to chop down. I know that's probably illegal. Okay? It's just chopping wood. Just one axe strike after another until we fell that tree. And that's the way we do it together. We do it here together, speaking truth to each other here on Legal AF. Come over to the Legal AF Substack. We're building that community as well with some great contributions. And we got some amazing contributors here, a dozen of them now, including Renato and Asha, who just joined us with their new podcast. It's complicated. It's not that complicated. Just continue to stay here, stay strong. I'm Michael Popok until my next report. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok Firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.